welcome back. Thank you for joining us for day 2 of Python learning. Okay, and today we are going to actually start writing our program. What we have learned in day 1. Day 1 we learned how to install a Python. So now let's start running a program in VS Code. So today the program that we're gonna run is we're gonna have 3 programs that we're gonna run. Okay, so just gonna give you an overview. Whenever you want to run a program, always remember either the data is given to you or you have to ask from the user. Like yesterday, that is day 1, when we run a program, we came to know that all the print statements that we were running, but basically we were only giving. Okay, so now let's start. In today's full logic, we'll be taking data from the user. Okay, so the program we're going to run today is we're going to ask data from the user, we're going to use the data to run some logic, and then we will be having certain exercises to run. Okay, so the first program that we're going to run today is we're going to ask user his name, and then we're going to print hello. Okay, so not just printing hello world or hello to the person, we're going to ask the name of the person, and once the name is known, then we're going to print hello. So what are the things we need to do over here? First is we need to prompt the user to give his name. Second, we need to save the name in some particular variable. Okay, now you know that variable, if you're saving a name, it has to be a string. Okay, it cannot be an integer. If you're asking the age of a person or something, then it will be an integer, but the name will always gonna be a string data type. Okay, and then we're gonna say hello to that name. So now let's go to our VS Code and start programming for this. So here we are in our VS Code now. If you want to start a new program, it is always good that you go to a file. Okay, say a new file. Okay, when you go to a new file, it will ask you whether you want a text file, you want a Python file. Say you want a Python file. Okay, so you can save your Python file. Okay, and you can start writing your code. Now, as a first program basically was saying that we have to ask the user for the name. Okay, so let's ask the user first. So we will say enter your name. Okay, so we'll enter your name. Remember, we are asking a input from the user. Okay, so we will write input, and this has to be stored in some variable. So we'll say we are storing it in name. You can make any variable n, y, whatever, but let's say as it is a name, we'll store it as a name. Now once it is stored, all that we have to do is we need to print saying hello, right? To whom? To whatever the variable that name has given, right? Means whatever you have stored here, that we want to store. Okay, so this is how we can write now. Okay, we can get it. Remember, we are taking an input, so we are asking for a string type. So we will be writing an f, which will be accepting it as a string type. Okay, so let's run the Python code and check. As this is the first time you have made the document, it is going to ask you to save somewhere. Okay, so let me just save it somewhere. As I said in the previous video, students, it is always better that you make a folder and there only you save everything. Okay, so now let's quickly see. Yes, it is already asking you to enter a name. Let's say I'm saying Ashwini. That's Ashwini. Okay, so see how it has printed hello and Ashwini. This is not the way you want it, right? You don't want this codes and all that. Okay, so let's improve it a little bit. You want the name to be printed with something like this. Let's say the name has to be printed like that, and just to highlight it more, we'll just put an exclamation mark. Now let's run a Python code again, and it is asking for your name, and let's write a name, hello Ashwini. So this time it is properly giving you hello name and over the exclamation mark that you have given. Okay, so this is what you can do. You can ask a user for a string and do it. Now let me tell you, it was a string, so you don't give any data type, it is okay. But remember, if you want an integer, it is very important that a data type int is added. Okay, so this has to be there. If you're asking for an integer, you have to add a data type int, so it knows the input that will be given is going to be in an integer type. Okay, so for the first video as such, we just wanted to print the name, so this is enough. Okay, writing string is optional. In some books you will see, or some videos you will see, they say that you have to write string. Yes, it is optional, but we have already demonstrated and shown that it's okay even if you don't do that. Okay, so that is also possible, that you can write a string, okay, saying that it is going to be a string variable, and still if you run your Python file, okay, it is going to ask you for your name, say Ashwini, and it is going to print the name. Okay, so this was all about our first program, students. Clear your terminal so it remains clean here. Okay, back to our second program, students. Here we're going to do is we're going to add two numbers, okay, given by the user. So remember, here again we're going to take data from the user, and from what we need to do is we need to follow step 1, where we'll give a prompt, we'll give a prompt for user to enter two numbers, okay, and then we will ask the user to, will use a third number to save these two numbers, okay, and then we will do the addition, and then we will print the addition. Okay, so this is all about the logic. Obviously we need two numbers, we need third number to keep the addition of this, and we need to print the third number. Okay, so let us quickly go to our VS Code again. Yes, whatever code you have written and you just don't want it to run but stay there, you can use hash. Hash is like a comment, that particular part will not be run. So now let's say you are asking for the first number, I'm calling it as num1. Okay, I am saying that enter first number. Okay, so yes, you want to enter the number. Remember, we are taking an input, so input has to be written, and as I said, int has to be written. Okay, don't forget this. So input bracket is there. Okay, now you need to ask for num2. Let's say again the same thing. So if you want, you can just copy, or you can type whatever you want. Okay, but just remember, here it has to be second. Okay, you're gonna have a second number, right? Now what you need is, you need a num3 basically, which is equal to num1 plus num2. No colon, no semicolon, Python needs nothing. Okay, after that, now what you want is, you want the addition of the numbers to be printed, right? So I can say addition of num1 and num2 is, now what do you want? Num1 and num2, as you know, is stored in a variable that is called as num3. So let me just write it as num3. That's it, finish. Okay, now let us run our code. Okay, again we'll go to our Python code, we'll run it. Okay, let's clear the terminal. Okay, enter the first number, so let's say I'm writing 12. Enter the second number, let's say I'm writing 10. It is telling me the addition of num1 and num2 is 22. So yes, it is giving me an addition. Okay, a simple thing. I just want to show you one thing, students. What happens if you don't write this data type over here? Okay, in the previous example, as it was a string, it was okay not to write the data type. But what happens when you're taking an integer variable and do not write a data type? Then what happens? So now let us see that. Let's run. Enter first number, so we'll say 12. Enter second number 10. And see, it is saying the addition of two numbers is 12, 10. It has actually considered it as a string, and it has concatenated 12 and 10. Okay, so this is what it has done, which is what we don't want. Actually, we wanted it to be an addition. Okay, that is why it is important. Students, you can either would have taken it as a float also, no problem. Let me tell you, float is also an integer type. Okay, so you could have written float also. Okay, still, as it is an integer type, it will be accepted. So let's run the file here. Okay, first let's clear the terminal. Okay, let's say, so you're saying 12 and you're 10, so yes, it is telling you 22.0, because as it has considered it to be float, but still you're getting the right answer, right? So this is all about our second program, students. Okay, coming to a third now. Let us quickly go to a third program. In this third program, exactly, we're going to see if the number is even or odd. We want to see a number is even or odd. So now let me tell you one thing. A number is even if when it is divisible by 2, the remainder is coming as 0. So we called it as mod 2 is 0. Okay, so first we'll ask the user to give the two numbers, then we will see if that mod is 2. Then if it is, then we'll say the number is even, or else we'll say the number is odd. So yes, we are going one step higher. Okay, So let us quickly go to our VS Code. Now check how can we write that. Again, all these numbers, if you want, you can use the same program. Okay, I can say first number, second number. Okay, and what I can say, but here I don't want two numbers from the user, right? I just want one number. Okay, that I want one number from the user, and I want to check whether that number is a even number or an odd number. So I have asked the user to give me a number. This time, instead of keeping it as float, let me keep it as int. Okay, so let's say num1 is equal to, you're asking the user to enter, instead of first we will say enter the number. Okay, we don't want addition, we want something else. We will see what. So let's say we say num is equal to this. Now we need to check what if num1 that is there, okay, num1 mod 2, if that is equal to 0, if num1 mod 2 is equal to 0, then what I need to print, okay, I need to print something, okay, and that is the number is even. Okay, if that is not the case, okay, let me tell you, if after it you need to give a colon, okay, remember this, and after that you need to have a tab. If not that, then I say else. Okay, means if not this, then you just print what? Print that the number is odd. Say the number is odd. Okay, so let's put it in quotes. That's it. This is our program right now. You're asking a user to give an input. You're checking if that number mod 2 is equal to 0. If it is, then you're saying L or else. See, else has to, if and else both comes with this colon, students. Okay, so please take care of that. Let us quickly do our terminal cleaning. And now let's run the program. It is asking you to enter a number. Let's enter 16 this time. It is saying the number is even, which is correct, right? 16 is an even number. Let's run the program one more time to check if it is correct. For better understanding, clear your terminal. Okay, enter a number. Let's say I'm saying 13. When I say 13, it is telling me the number is odd. So this is all about a simple program, students, of day 2 learning Python. Okay, in the next session we will understand control statements, loop statements and all. So don't get disheartened, stay with us. Today is just 2 of 30 days session that we will be learning Python. Okay, it's a great learning with you all, and as I said, please subscribe and to our channel, and do join Ashwini's tuitions, for simple understanding of the concepts. Before we go, we have something for you, and that is, these are 2 exercise questions we want you to do. Is find the multiplication of a given number. So students, we have done addition, right? We have done addition. So instead of just addition, num1 plus num2, what I'll be doing is I'll be saying it is num1 into num2. So that will be giving me a multiplication, right? So I've given you a hint. I want you to try it. Please give in the comment if you are doing it or not. Do it, and I'll mention you in the coming video. Okay. The next video is find if the number is, I'm so sorry for this, find is if the number is divisible by 5. To know if the number is divisible by 5, students, is as good as mod 5 if it is equal to 0. Okay, so try that too. Okay, please put the answer in the comment section, and so that we will be mentioning you in the coming videos. Thank you so much for joining, and as I said, please join Ashwini's tuitions for all the programming, and computer IT students can also join it for second year, third year, final year subjects. Thank you so much.